From Melania Trump's controversial speech to celebrity appearances and Chris Christie's mock prosecution of Hillary Clinton, the RNC is already home to some very tweetable moments. Let's dig into what's resonating most on social media. Adam Sharp is the head of news, government, and elections for Twitter, and he joins us here at the RNC in Cleveland. Adam, it's good to have you back.
Thank you. Good morning, Carl.
What has resonated the most?
Well, no surprise here, the Trump family has driven a lot of this conversation. Monday night, it was Melania Trump. Last night, the Trump children were big conversation starters. And then also the allies from the New York area, Rudy Giuliani, Chris Christie's speeches also driving a lot of conversation this week.
Any question that the speech and the controversy surrounding Melania's speech was number one?
Absolutely. And it's funny, we've sat here many times before, and the charts, when we look at these tweets per minute, are always the same. You see that one big spike during the speech, and that's usually it for the night. But this week we saw something unique. A little after midnight, a reporter sitting in a Starbucks in Los Angeles said, "That sounds familiar," and sent a tweet comparing it to the 2008 speech by Michelle Obama, and all of a sudden, a whole new arc, a whole new story developed overnight, setting the agenda for the rest of this week.
And now here we are on day 3, and just as we were speaking, Donald Trump tweets again. Good news is Melania's speech got more publicity than any in the history of politics, especially if you believe that all press is good press.
I guess the saying goes, as long as they spell your name right.
Right. But there is this, Twitter is elongating some of these news cycles, even though it's criticized for shortening some news cycles. Would you agree? It's
setting the news cycle. I mean, this is a story that developed after midnight on the East Coast, after all the networks had gone off the air for the night. All the framework you'd normally expect to set the news agenda for the next morning had already turned the lights off. But here, a conversation started on Twitter overnight. The video developed overnight from a reporter in New York, and by morning, this was all people were talking about. This was the community of viewers and voters on Twitter that set the agenda for the next day.
You guys have been busy. We pointed this out many times, not just in your universe with elections and the convention, but Wimbledon now. We're going to be getting football this fall. We just got this NBA original content deal signed this week. So are we going to recognize Twitter in 6 months, in 12 months?
I think Twitter in 6-12 months is going to be, in many ways, the Twitter that it's been from the start. A place for people to connect quickly with the live events that everybody's talking about. The differences are going to be, how do we make that experience better? From the start, people have been turning to Twitter around major political events, sports games, award shows, and so on. Now it's all in one screen. You can watch the convention live on video at the top of your screen while still tweeting and following the tweets below it. It's a great integrated experience that you can take with you anywhere.
Now we've got this controversy this week regarding comedian Leslie Jones, who said she was leaving Twitter after dealing with trolls that were tweeting some racist content. Twitter took a response, for some argue the first time. What is Twitter trying to do about it?
Listen, nobody should be the target of direct abuse on the platform. Every user should feel safe, and we have clearly not done enough to address that. So we're taking several steps right now. We've actually suspended a lot of accounts this week where there had been a ramp up of activity. We're also going to be rolling out some policy changes and even more tools to make it easier for reporters to take action.
And any criticism that you're going to clamp down more on the right or the left, how do you avoid that problem?
The rules are firmly stated and publicly available, and we'll enforce those rules, and we enforce them equally. I think just looking at this convention, with thousands of conservative voices coming out of this hall, turning to Twitter to talk about this convention, this nominee, and these issues, is evidence that the full spectrum is represented on the platform.
Adam, we'll see what the next 2 days bring. Good to have you.
Thank you, Carl.
Adam Sharp joining us from Twitter. When we come back,